Today is January 13, 2015, and we're interviewing Gerard Platte at the American Home Senior Living Community, 2619 Kalamazoo Avenue Southeast, Grand Rapids, Michigan, 49507. And Jerry lives in apartment 149 at American Home Senior Living Community. Jerry's full name is Gerard James Platte, and his last name is Platte, and he was born December 30, 1921, at Grand Rapids, Michigan. And Jerry served in World War II as an infantryman with the U.S. Marine Corps, and specifically with the 3rd Marine Division on the islands of Bougainville, Guam, Iwo Jima, and Guadalcanal in the South Pacific. My name as interviewer and videographer is Wallace Erickson, and I'm a volunteer interviewer with the Grand Valley State University History Department at Allendale, Michigan. This interview is being done under the auspices of the Veterans History Project at the American Folklife Center at the Library of Congress, Washington, D.C., and is also being coordinated through the History Department at Grand Valley State University, Allendale, Michigan. Jerry, before we begin, I'd like to ask you, and I'd like you to state your full name. Your full name?
Gerard James Platte.
And what is your date of birth?
December 30th, 1921.
And your place of birth?
Pardon?
Place of birth. What city and state were you?
Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Okay, thank you. Where were you raised? Were you raised here in Grand Rapids?
Right here in Grand Rapids, yes.
Okay. What did your father do?
My father was foreman at Hayes Manufacturing Company.
I see. And how many brothers and sisters did you have?
I had 3 sisters and 2 brothers.
Okay. What were your sisters'
4
names?
sisters. 4
What were
sisters.
your 4 sisters' names?
Ellen, Victoria, Dorothy, and Mary Margaret.
And your brothers?
It was Richard and Herbert.
I understand at least one of them served in the military in World War II. Is that right?
Pardon?
Did one of them serve in the military in World War II?
Yes, they both served in the military.
Where did Richard serve?
Pardon?
Where did Richard serve? What branch?
Richard served, well, both of them served in the Army.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. What high school did you go to?
I went to Catholic Central.
I see. And
1940.
1940 was your graduation
Right.
year? Okay. Jerry, after high school graduation, what did you do then? Did you get a job?
I worked at a gas station.
Where was that?
That was over on Pine Bridge Street.
Okay.
And then I worked at Kendall Furniture.
It was right after high school then, is that right?
Yeah. And then after that I went to Hayes.
Hayes Manufacturing.
Yeah.
What did they make? What did Hayes make?
Well, the body parts mostly, but they had, during the war, they had the parachute division.
Oh, I see. They're making body parts for automobiles?
Yeah, well, they also made parts for airplanes.
Oh.
It was a job shop.
Oh, I see. Where were they located?
They're over on 5th Street, on the west side.
Oh, I see. On the west side of?
5th and Muskegon.
Oh. Okay. And how long was it after high school when you were working before you entered the military?
How long?
How long did you work after high school before entering the military?
Well, I worked till maybe 1942.
I see. So 2 years then, basically. And did you go to Battle Creek at Fort Custer at all? Did you do any training there at all?
No, I didn't train there at all in the service. But before the war, and when I was in high school, I went to what they call CMTC, which was Civilian Military Training Camp. I went there for 2 sessions and 30 days in each summer.
I see. That was when you were actually in high school then?
Right.
So it was a civilian military training
Right.
center then, is that what it was? And was that at Fort Custer in Battle Creek?
I was at Fort Custer.
Okay. When did you enlist in the Marine Corps then?
January 8th, 1942. That's when I signed in first, but I was sworn in January 20th at San Diego.
Okay. Why did you decide to enter the Marine Corps?
Pardon?
Why did you decide to enter the Marine Corps rather than any other branch of the military?
I just figured that the Marine Corps would be the first one in to fight, and then that's what I wanted to be into.
Did you have any friends or high school friends or anything that had also gone in the Marine Corps at the same time?
Pardon?
Did you have high school friends that also entered the Marine Corps or had been in the Marine Corps?
No.
Like your dad or family or anything like that?
No.
Prior service in the Marine Corps? Okay. You just wanted to be the first to fight, right? You wanted to be the first to fight.
Yeah, that's about it. Get in and get it over with.
How did you join a unit here and then you all went to San Diego? How did you get to San Diego to basic training?
We had to train.
Okay. Did you go as a group or individually? Or?
All as a group. It was a
Okay.
full train of people going to the Marine Corps
I see.
from all over Western Michigan.
So you went to Marine Corps Recruit Depot there at San Diego then?
Yes.
Okay, MCRD as they call it. Okay. Do you recall your first days in the service, in basic training at boot camp? What were they like?
That would be January 20th. That was the first day we got there, we were sworn in and started training right away.
What was it like? What was the training like initially?
Pardon?
What was the training like initially?
Training in San Diego, you mean?
Right.
Yeah, it was rough. It was not anything you thought was going to be.
What were your drill instructors like?
The drill instructors were efficient, and we at that time thought they were mean, but actually everything they did had a purpose.
I see. How did you get through the training then?
Pardon?
How did you get through the training?
Good.
You just stayed with it? Is that
Stayed
right?
with it, yeah.
How long was boot camp then?
Pardon?
How long were you there at boot camp?
20. You said how old? 20.
No, how long?
Well, how long was I in boot camp? 45 days.
45 days.
We had an extra 15 days put on because we were the first company to have the M1 rifle.
Oh, I see.
So we had a 15-day extra.
So you were the first class that trained on the M1 Garand rifle, is
Right.
that right? Okay. And did you do the firearms training there at San Diego?
Pardon?
Did you do the firearms training at San Diego?
No, we went to San Luis Obispo, which was an Army camp, because the Marine Corps personnel didn't know anything about the M1. The Army did, so the Army was helping us out on it, teaching us.
So the Army instructors were the ones that actually taught you about the M1 rifle.
Right.
Is that right? So they had an actual rifle range set up there at San Luis Obispo?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember the name of the camp there at San Luis Obispo? Was there a name for the camp at San Luis Obispo?
I don't recall. If there was, I just don't recall.
Okay. You were there about 15 days then
Yeah.
at San Luis Obispo. That's about 150 miles north of San Diego, right?
Right.
Yeah. Do you remember any of your instructors, your drill instructors?
Any what?
Do you remember any of your instructors, their names or anything specific about them?
Well, I can remember one of them. His name was MMM, but Melvin something Meeker.
Meeker.
Melvin M. Meeker.
Well, a name like Meeker, he sounds like it might be from Grand Rapids.
Yeah.
What do you remember about him? Was he particularly strict or?
Oh yeah, they were very according to the book. Mm-hmm. And in those days, they carried a little swagger stick, and it wasn't beyond them to hit you on the head if you stepped out of the line. You had a helmet on, but
sure.
They tap you to get your attention.
How about your fellow trainees, your fellow Marines that were in basic training there? Did you make any lasting friendships with any of your basic trainee?
No, not really. We split up after boot camp.
I see. Jerry, after boot camp, where did you go? Did you go for additional training?
No, we went, after boot camp, we went up to Washington State, and we were at the NAD, which was called Naval Ammunition Depot in Bremerton, Washington. And while we were there, the big Saratoga came in all over the whole side, knocked out from the torpedo. And then I went from there, I went up to Indian Island, Washington.
How long were you at Bremerton?
Pardon?
How long were you there at Bremerton?
About a week.
Oh, 1 week, okay.
Yeah.
And what were you doing there at Bremerton then?
Guard duty.
Guard duty, okay. And then, I'm sorry, from there, from Bremerton, you went to where?
Pardon?
Where did you go after Bremerton?
After
Bremerton?
Well, I went to Indian Island, Washington.
Indian Island, Washington, I see.
That was a Naval Ammunition Depot.
Okay. And again, were you on guard duty there? Is that what you did?
Pardon?
Did you do guard duty at
Guard
Indian
duty, yes,
Island? Okay. How long did you stay there?
We were there about, I think about 10 months.
Oh, 10 months, I see. Oh, now let me ask you, how far is Indian Island from Bremerton?
About, I recall, it was about 60 miles.
Oh, 60 miles, I see. So not really that far, but...
There were 2 car ferries between Bremerton and...
I can imagine. After
yeah.
Indian Island, where did you go?
Indian Island, we went back down to Camp Pendleton. There I joined the 3rd Marine Division.
Okay. And Camp Pendleton is in Southern California, north of San Diego, is that right?
Yeah, right.
Okay. You joined the 3rd Marine Division. What was your unit, your company that you were in?
I was in B Company, 1st Battalion, 21st Marines.
3rd Marine Division, right?
Right.
And what platoon were you assigned to?
I was in weapons. I was a machine gunner.
Okay. So that was your military specialty then, was machine gunner, right?
Right.
Okay.
Well, later I got transferred to the mortar section. I was in the same platoon.
Let me ask you, what sort of machine guns did the Marine Corps have at that time?
We had 30 caliber air-cooled.
Was that a Browning machine gun, or?
Pardon?
Did they call it a Browning machine gun?
I'm awfully hard of hearing.
Was it a Browning machine gun, or do you remember like the M number or anything about it?
No, I don't remember anything about it. Oh, I just knew how to run it.
Some of them, I understand, were liquid cooled. Is that right?
Pardon?
Some of the machine guns were liquid cooled. They had a tube
they had
to a canister.
Well, our heavy weapons company had the water cooled, but we didn't have them.
Oh, I see.
The infantry companies just had a 60 millimeter mortar in the 30 caliber machine gun.
Was the machine gun mounted on a tripod? Was it on a tripod?
Yeah, a tripod.
Okay. And then you mentioned you're transferred to mortars eventually. That was 60 millimeter mortars?
That was the 60 millimeter.
Yeah.
60 millimeter mortar.
Did you have 81 millimeter mortars at all?
Anyway,
Did you have 81 millimeter mortars at all in the company?
no.
Or was that the heavy weapons battalion?
Had heavy weapons. The 81s were in the heavy weapons. And then regimental had the, well, I think it was 3.2 or something they called them. It was a big mortar.
Okay. How long did you spend at Camp Pendleton then?
Well, we were at Pendleton for about 2 months.
Okay. Do you remember what, was there a sub-camp there at Camp Pendleton, like Los Flores or Santa Margarita, where you stayed? Do you remember?
No, I don't recall.
Yeah, the base was fairly new at that point. You told me earlier something about Camp Pendleton being a land grant, from a Spanish land grant, is that right?
Oh yeah, that was, actually it was from Spain. The land grant was given to some family in, the Marines bought it from them.
Well, Jerry, I might add that I believe the land grant, the original land grant for what eventually became Camp Pendleton, was originally known as Santa Margarita a Los Flores. And what's interesting is that both Santa Margarita is it's a small sub-camp at Camp Pendleton currently, and Los Flores is also a sub-camp. And Los Flores is actually where the tank battalion is located. And many years after your service, I served there at Camp Los Flores.
Yeah, but that's where I served, in Los Flores.
Los Flores in the late 1960s. And Los Flores, I believe, was located just south of the, just a few miles south of the original farmhouse at the land grant area. And the original grantees from the Spanish were Pio and Andre Pico, P-I-C-O. And I believe it was Pio Pico that was actually the Spanish governor of Northern California until I believe it was 1921 when Mexico became the governor of California. Well, getting back to your unit, B Company, 1st Battalion, 21st Marines, 3rd Marine Division. This was a infantry unit, is that right?
Pardon?
This was an infantry unit that you joined?
Infantry, yeah.
All right. And did you do training there at Camp Pendleton as a unit?
We trained at Camp Pendleton.
Okay, Jerry, you just had arrived at Camp Pendleton. Were you in a specific area at Camp Pendleton?
Pardon?
Were you at a specific area at Camp Pendleton, you recall?
No, we're just in a tent city.
Tent City?
Yeah.
Okay. So this was a new unit that was being made up then, B Company, 1st Battalion, 21st Marines, is that right? Yeah, okay. How many men were in your company, about?
Well, approximately, a reinforced company was around 200. I think it was 210 of reinforced company.
Okay.
So your regular company without the reinforcement would be about 160.
I see. And how long were you there at Camp Pendleton then?
Just about 2 months.
2 months. Okay. And where did you go after that?
Then we went to New Zealand.
Oh, yeah. And where did you go in New Zealand?
We went to New Zealand to reinforce New Zealand. The Japs were still making their progress down the line, and the New Zealand troops were all in Africa chasing Rommel back and forth across the desert. So we reinforced home troops.
Were you near Auckland or in that area? Were you near Auckland, New Zealand?
What?
Were you near Auckland, New Zealand?
Yeah, near Auckland.
Yeah. Do you remember the name of the camp you were at?
Yeah, it was Kapara Flats is where we were at.
Okay.
We had to take a train to get into Auckland.
And so you're performing guard duty or just training there then in New Zealand?
We trained there.
Training.
Yeah.
Okay.
We didn't do any guard duty, it was training.
I see. How long did you remain there in New Zealand? How long did you remain there in New Zealand?
We weren't very long, about 3 months in New Zealand.
Okay.
And then they called them the rats at the brook. They were chasing Rommel back and forth across the desert. When they came home, then they sent us out.
Okay. Where did you go after that then?
Went to Guadalcanal there.
Okay, Guadalcanal. And you mentioned that was after the main invasion then, earlier, is that right?
Pardon?
That was after the main invasion?
No, we went there to stage and practice or train for Bougainville.
Okay, but Guadalcanal had already been semi-secured anyway, is
Well,
that
we
right?
were still being shelled and bombed, shelled by
Oh, I see.
destroyers, and a bomber come over.
Sure.
But
Okay, again, you were
there was
staging then,
no hand-to-hand fighting,
Right.
no infantry fighting.
you were staging for the invasion of Bougainville, is that right?
Pardon?
You were staging for the
Bougainville,
invasion of
yeah.
Bougainville? Okay. Okay. Let me ask you at this point, do you remember some of your fellow Marines in your own platoon and your own company? You know, the people you met there then, or the people that you had been working with in B Company?
The ones in B Company were all strangers to me because I came in from the guard duty, and they'd all been together for a few months, so I didn't know any of them. I was just getting acquainted with the guys in your tent.
Oh, I see. So they had gone through basic training together then, and
Right.
you came in from guard duty to
Right.
to augment them. I see.
Yeah.
Did you make any lasting friendships of those people that were with you with the weapons company?
No, we had a bunch of nice guys. Yeah, a real bunch of nice guys in our company. Yeah.
Okay. And then from there you went to Bougainville, is that right?
There's what?
To Bougainville then for the invasion there, was that right? After Guadalcanal?
Guadalcanal, what?
After Guadalcanal you went to Bougainville?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah, we went up in Bougainville, and then we went up on a World War I destroyer that was converted to a troop carrier.
Oh, I see. Do you remember the name of the destroyer or anything? Do you remember the name of the destroyer or troop
No.
carrier? Okay. How many days were you at sea then?
How many days, what?
How many days were you at sea before you arrived at
2
Bougainville?
days. It's just a short jaunt.
Short time. Oh, I see. Okay. Did you make the initial invasion then of
Oh, yeah.
Bougainville? Okay.
Yeah.
What were you in a specific wave, or were you in a specific wave that went ashore?
First wave.
First
yeah,
wave.
We went
I
in.
see.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was no opposition when he got to shore. It was when the minute we went inland, we started getting opposition.
Oh, I see. So, but on the shoreline, there was no.
No.
You weren't getting opposition from the Japanese.
No.
Okay. How far inland did you go?
Well, we built a big perimeter from shore to shore, went up the top of this mountain. I would say we were probably in there a mile and a half.
Oh, I see.
We went in there, we waded through muck and jungle rot and everything else.
Sure.
And when we come out on a big highway the Seabees had built out of coral. We rode out on trucks.
Oh, so the highway had been built by the Japanese, was that right? Had the highway been built by the Japanese?
No, the Seabees built it right from scratch.
Oh, I see. The Seabees did it then.
Yeah,
as
they-
part of the landing then.
That's construction battalion, Navy. They cut down the trees and fell them across the mucky area where they put the road.
Oh, I
Then
see.
they brought coral in and put it on top of that. And
So it's kind of a riprap highway then, right? Made from lumber underneath.
yeah, it was a real nice, smooth highway. It was
yeah.
dusty, but from the coral, but road smooth, real good.
Was Bougainville then mainly low and swampy, or was it high,
Oh,
mountainous?
swamp.
Swampy.
There's
low. Okay.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
no, there's the two densest jungles in the world were New Guinea and Bougainville.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. In Bougainville, if you were on dry ground and you built a foxhole down, if you went over to 6-8 inches, you were in the water.
It fill up with water
Groundwater
pretty quick.
was right up. Yeah. There was
What sort of opposition did you see then from the Japanese?
not too great.
Just sniper
It
activity
was,
then, or?
I would say, probably mild. More or less, they had strong points. We had to eliminate the strong points.
And were you involved in several firefights and that sort of thing then
I wasn't,
Take the
no,
strong points?
some of my company was, but not myself. I was in the, by that time I was in the mortars. No, I was in machine guns then, but I was back with the mortar men because we were too slow to make the advancement.
Sure. How long did it take you to secure the area that you were assigned to secure?
Oh, we never really secured Bougainville. We just built that perimeter and built an airport there
Oh, yeah.
for the invasion of other small islands. And we put some bombers in there. But
Did the Seabees actually build the airport then, and you, the Marines provided the security, or how did
Pardon?
that work? Did the Seabees build the airport?
yes, oh yes,
And so the Marines provided the security then, or,
yeah.
is that right?
Well, they built it inside our perimeter.
Oh, I see, yeah. How large was the perimeter then? I mean,
Pardon?
how large was the perimeter overall?
Oh gosh, I would say at least 3 or 4 miles.
Oh, I see.
It went from the shore inland.
So 3 or 4 miles in diameter then, or circumference?
And more or less diameter.
Diameter, yeah, okay. And then, Jerry, how long did you remain on Bougainville then before going on to the next island?
On Bougainville, we were there about 45 days on the front lines, and then I got malaria, and I flew back to Guadalcanal, and the rest of the company came back on boat.
Well, I'm sorry, why did you fly back to Guadalcanal?
Pardon?
Why did you fly back to Guadalcanal?
After Bougainville, we flew to Guadalcanal.
Well, you or the whole company flew back? Did the whole company fly back, or?
No, just the ones that had malaria.
Oh, I see. Oh, you picked up malaria there then?
Yeah, that's when I got
So you were going
malaria.
back for medical reasons.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
The company came back by boat, by ship.
yeah. How long did the affliction with malaria set you back?
Well, the malaria, I was sick about 3 weeks with that.
And then you pretty much recovered after that?
Yeah,
or?
it was funny. The corpsman was taking care of me. He called the doctor, and he said, hey, this guy got 105.6 fever. Doctor said he can't, he'd be dead. He come up and he checked it, and he said, I never hit anything like that. And so I was recorded as having the highest highest fever.
Fever.
And then Dale Hostler, a friend from the company, they called him down there, and he had 106.5, so he broke my record within a half an hour.
So more than one of you got picked up malaria there in Bougainville?
We don't know if they got it there or whether they got it at Guadalcanal. It
Sure.
could have been either place.
But you fully recovered then from malaria then, was that right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They fill you up full of quinine.
Oh, yeah. Were you in a tent hospital, or were you in a hospital area then?
You're in tent
Guadalcanal?
hospital.
I see, yeah. So you had doctors there, did you have like nurses or just orderlies, or what sort of medical personnel took care of you there on Guadalcanal?
Security?
What kind of medical personnel?
Oh, medical. We had
Did they have
Navy.
nurses,
We
or-
all had the Navy.
Oh, Navy?
Navy doctors. Marine Corps always had the Navy.
Sure. And they have Navy corpsmen then, I assume?
Yeah, we had corpsmen with us.
Sure.
You never said anything against the corpsmen if you were in the Marine Corps. I mean,
That's right.
the Marines had defended their corpsmen to the nth degree.
Yeah. How many other Marines were in the hospital there as patients? Do you remember? How large was the hospital?
I don't, well, there was just Dale Hostler and myself from my company. The rest were from different companies and for different ailments.
Mm-hmm. So was malaria a real problem then in the South Pacific?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
And then you eventually joined your company then at Guadalcanal, is that right?
Hmm?
Then you eventually joined B Company again at Guadalcanal?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just...
And did you mount out from there again, from Guadalcanal?
From Guadalcanal, we left Guadalcanal for Guam,
Okay,
invasion of Guam.
okay. How long were you at Guadalcanal the second time then? Before going to
about
Guam?
4 months, 3-4
Okay.
months.
Okay.
Just enough to refurbish ourselves.
To refit and refurb, yeah. And then you took ships. What kind of a ship were you on then as you headed to Guam?
We headed to Guam, we were on one of the President lines. It was
passenger ship.
President Adams.
President
the
Adams.
ship.
Okay. So it wasn't exactly a landing ship or anything, was it?
It was actually it was a cruise ship for the ocean.
Sure.
They converted it to a troop transport.
And how did you get then from the ship to the island then to Guam?
In Guam, we went ashore on landing craft.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and they were Higgins boats.
Did you find opposition then to the landing?
Oh yeah, we had it right from the minute we hit. We had opposition.
Mm-hmm. What sort of opposition then? Like rifle fire?
First it was artillery, and then we started running into strong points that, well, they had all their pillboxes. We had to knock out the pillboxes and then break through. But we landed in there with about 210 men on Guam.
In your company then, right?
Yeah, that was a reinforced company.
Were many wounded and killed in the initial landing on Guam?
Pardon?
Were there many killed and wounded on the initial landing?
Not, well, one is too many, but
Right.
no, I mean, there was no big deal.
No severe losses?
We lost about 10, 12 men, but that's big when it's your men.
Sure. Were you able to get in off the beach then and be able to fight your way inland?
We never stopped. We just kept moving, and then we set up at night, then push out the next morning.
How far did you go inland there on Guam then?
Guam, we were probably in another 2 or 3 miles in the inland. We went up the top of the ridge, which was our destination. We went up to that top of the ridge, and when my company got up to the top of the ridge, we only had 59 men left out of the company. So,
How many days did it take you to get to the top of the ridge then?
as I recall, it was about 10 days.
I see. Yeah. So you were among those that made it to the ridge, is that right?
Pardon?
You were among those that made it to the ridge. You were among the Marines that made it to the ridge then. Okay.
But
Did you set up there and?
there was another fellow from Grand Rapids. He joined us before we went to Guam, Dick Schmidt, and so there was only 2 of us in the whole outfit from Grand Rapids.
Yeah.
When we got to the top of the ridge, 2 of us were still left. And then we got hit with a big banzai where the Japs came at us at night. And there was, I think, as I remember, 300 to 400 Japs, and we had 59 Marines. And we stopped them all but 14. 14 got through. They got wiped out down in the rear echelon. So then the next morning when we took roll call. We had 19 men left out of the company.
Out of the company, yeah.
And Dick Schmidt and I were 2 of the 19. And then one kid who was there got hit with a sniper and he got killed, so there was actually 18 left.
Did you stay then on the ridge and set up a perimeter there, or move on from there?
No, we were moving out. We were frontier. We always had the front. We were going to it. And then when we had 18 left, and Corporal Bean, who was my corporal, he took 10 to A Company in, I can't remember the other guy's name, he took the 8 to C Company, and we pushed out with them.
So you reinforced the other companies,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
did B Company then basically cease to exist then, or was it just a temporary assignment to the other companies, or what?
No, we were just temporary. About 2 days later, we started getting back some of our walking wounded, and some that had malaria. We started getting those back, and then we reformed our company.
Did you get fresh reinforcements?
Then we got
and all?
reinforcements, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
See, a lot of our men got hit with what was called a knee mortar. It was a little small mortar that like shot a hand grenade. And they were very, very good with those things. You just dug it in the ground and you aimed it wherever you wanted and guessed at the distance.
Oh,
But they were pretty good at it. They knocked out a machine gun, and our captain, Captain Beck, I was in mortars. He had told me to go up and take over that machine gun. So I was on, when the banzai hit, I was in the machine gun. Yeah, when I woke up in the morning, I woke up when everything came to light, and we started looking up and down the line, and there was about 8 or 10 foxholes this way that were empty, and that way was completely wiped out up to C Company. So you're sitting out like a sore thumb and don't even know it.
so 19 of you were then, well, all that was remained of B Company
Yeah,
then.
they'd wiped out,
Yeah.
the grenades, and there was some hand-to-hand fighting there too.
Bayonets fixed and that sort of thing?
Bayonet
then?
fighting, yeah.
Bayonet fighting?
Yeah.
Well, once you got reinforced then, did you continue on inland then, on Guam then, Jerry?
Me.
Once you were reinforced with fresh troops,
Yeah,
did you go further
replacements.
inland?
Yeah, replacement troops. Yeah.
How far beyond the ridge then did you go inland?
How far away?
Beyond the ridge did you go?
Well, the whole island. We swept the whole island.
Okay.
We went right across, then went both ways.
Fanned out, yeah. Was that the mission of 21st Marines or just your battalion, just the 1st Battalion? Or do you remember?
Pardon?
Did the the entire 21st Marines, were they the ones that swept the island, or was it the entire division?
The entire division went
The entire
across.
division there.
And, well, I shouldn't say that. The 21st went across, and the others kind of started sweeping. Then after about halfway through the island, there was no opposition. It was strong spots where they gathered. And then the natives would say, hey, there's a bunch of Japs over here, and then we'd go out on a patrol, and we didn't capture very many of them, but most of them died.
Try to find them and eliminate them, right?
They didn't like to surrender.
Yeah. How many days did it take you, or weeks, I guess I should ask, to secure the island of Guam entirely?
Guam, I think it was about 30 days, 30 or 40 days.
Okay.
Not a long battle, but actually, from the day we landed there to the day we left for Iwo Jima, we were fighting all the time because they would find spots of Japs that they'd run up into the mountains, and and a lot of them had uniforms, Marine uniforms, and that made it a little harder to pick them off because you didn't know whether it was a Jap or a Marine.
Yeah.
We captured a couple of them, and I was under the impression that anyone wearing our uniform would be shot, but they didn't. They took them back to the United States to interrogate them.
Once the island was secured, did you stay then on Guam, or did you?
Yeah, we stayed on Guam. We
Okay.
staged on Guam and practiced in landings and so forth.
Okay, and what, you were practicing then for another island then, where was that?
We get off we went on troop transports, went off the side and landed, simulated a landing.
Okay. What was the next island you were going to? Was that Iwo Jima?
That was Iwo Jima.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so it was the 3rd Marine Division that participated in that
Yeah,
landing
well,
also?
there was more than the 3rd was in there. There was
The 1st and 5th, were they?
3rd and 21st, and I guess just the 3rd and 21st.
Okay.
We had
Not
to-
the 1st Marine Division necessarily, or?
No.
The 5th Division?
No, I think it was a 4th Division come in with us.
Was the 4th Division a reserve division then?
Pardon?
Was the 4th Marine Division a reserve division at that time too?
Wait, 4th, it wasn't yeah, 4th Marine Division, yeah.
Yeah, that was.
They were formed after we were, yeah.
Okay, but again, that was a reserve division then, or did they have the Marine Reserves prior to World War II? Did they have Marine Reserves prior to World War II?
Marine Reserves?
The reserve units.
Yeah,
like
we
they
had
have now.
our 3rd Regiment never came into Iwo Jima.
Oh, I see.
They were out at sea in case they were needed.
Mm-hmm.
But they were needed, but we got replacements.
So you left Guam then, and then I assume you joined troop transports again then to head to Iwo Jima. What sort of ship were you on then going to Iwo Jima?
When we went up to Iwo Jima, we were on one of the President lines, Jackson.
Oh, President Jackson?
Yeah.
Okay. How long did it take you to get to Iwo Jima? Very long?
I don't recall. Not too long. But as we were having typhoon all the way, you'd be up here like this, and the ocean was full of ships. You go down in the swale, and you're the only ship on the ocean.
Nobody around, right? Yeah. That'll test your stomach, right? The typhoons. Yeah. So making the invasion in Iwo Jima then, what wave were you in on that landing then?
Well, we were supposed to be in the first wave, the first day, but we went in the second day.
Mm-hmm.
The first day, they didn't have any room for us on the shore.
It was just too crowded then, is that right?
Too crowded, yeah, between men and equipment.
So by the time, the second day, when you were headed to the shore, was there any opposition at that point?
Oh, yeah.
Still?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
There wasn't a minute there wasn't opposition on, you're fighting every day of the,
Sure.
there was no let up.
What section of the shoreline did you land on then? Was there like a beach name or something like that where you landed?
No, there was, the island come in like this and it dropped off. And then it went in, there was about, probably 50 feet where that drop off was. Mm-hmm. And that's all the protection you had behind that drop off.
Oh. Okay. Well, getting ashore then, did you encounter any difficulty then getting ashore?
I didn't, but we went in on what was called alligators.
Oh, yeah.
They were tracked landing ships.
Sure.
We went in on those and we were getting splashed all the way. And the one alligator next to us, the wave caught it and down it went. All the guys that threw their stuff off and went back to the ship.
Oh. So it swamped the thing then, is that right?
Pardon?
The wave swamped the alligator, is that
Yeah.
right? Yeah, those were early landing craft, I guess.
One landing craft, yeah.
Yeah.
Down it went. I mean, they were a heavy piece of equipment.
Mm-hmm. So your alligator made it ashore then, was that right?
Yeah, we made it ashore.
Okay. Where did you go then, once you were ashore?
Once we went, they told us once we hit, don't stop, keep going. Mm-hmm. So we pushed up to airport number 1, And then we turned and went up the middle of the island.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this airport, number one, then that had been built by the Japanese, is that
Yeah,
right? Okay.
all three of them were Japanese built.
Oh.
Number 3 was just being built.
Now let me ask you, of course, the famous photograph is Joe Rosenthal's photograph of Iwo Jima from where the flag was raised on Mount Suribachi.
Yeah.
Was that off to the left of you then as you came ashore?
Yes, to the left.
I see.
Yeah, because we came in, and then to the left was Suribachi. We were getting fire from Suribachi and from the front when we first made the pivot. We went in like this, and then we broke. I mean, once we went across the island, we broke and went this way, and these went up the mountain.
Oh, I see.
And once they secured the mountain, then we were just getting the fire from the front. That was a lot better.
At least you knew where it was coming from, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you weren't getting shot in the back.
Yeah. So you made your way to airport number 1 then on the island.
Yeah.
Did you secure the airport and stay there, or did you keep pushing across the island?
Then we got to airport number 2, and I got caught in a mortar barrage. And the next thing you know, I was being taken out. I had concussion. So they took me out to a ship. It was a merchant marine ship. I don't even remember the name of it. And they washed all our clothes, give us a shower, give us a supper, put us out for breakfast, a big breakfast, and put us back ashore. And so I was supposed to work on the shore detail, but I run into my first sergeant, Fesselmeyer, and he said, "Platte, come on, we need you. We got a replacement platoon here." So here we had corporals and sergeants, and all of them had come off in guard duty or office duty or something. None of them had ever seen combat or anything. And so here I was a PFC leading a platoon. And
So Thistlemeyer was your first sergeant for B Company, is that right?
Pardon?
Was Thistlemeyer your B Company first sergeant?
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Initially you were going to be on just like shore patrol or handling the cargo coming ashore and that kind of thing? You thought that's what you would initially be doing?
Not that I remember. Not
But then when Thistlemeyer found you there, he got you back to the
Fesselmeyer was our command post.
Yeah,
He was there with the captain, and
okay.
but yeah.
Let me stop it.
But
Let me see, Jerry, let me ask you, who was your company commander? What was your company commander's name?
Donald Beck.
Donald Beck, okay, and
He was Captain Donald Beck.
First Sergeant Thistlemeyer was your company first sergeant, is that
He was
right?
first sergeant, right.
I see. And both of them made it through the landing on Iwo Jima?
Oh yeah, they made it through. Well, they weren't on the front lines. They're in the rear echelon.
How long did you spend on Iwo Jima then?
Oh gosh, I think it was, if I remember right, I think it was 40 days.
40 days? Yeah. And then did you go back to the ships for another landing?
I got hit.
Oh, you
I
were
got
hit.
wounded.
Okay.
Well, first of all, there was our 2 platoons. We were down to 2 platoons, and both of us run by PFCs. And we did the push to the final island, the end of the island. And when I was called hauling guys out, that's when I got hit.
You mentioned, well, were you a platoon leader then yourself as a PFC?
Pardon?
Did you become a platoon leader then as a PFC yourself?
I was a PFC, yeah,
Okay.
platoon leader.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
That's what happens when everybody
The other
else,
one, I can't think of his name right now, but
casualty.
he also became platoon leader, and he was a PFC. But those sergeants had never seen combat. It didn't take them long.
How many, in your platoon then as a PFC, how many other Marines did you have in the platoon?
How many what?
How many other Marines did you have in the platoon at that time?
Other,
Marines in the platoon?
oh, in the platoon, there was about 33 men in the platoon.
But, I mean, was that the size of the platoon when you were the platoon leader? Was that the size of the platoon when you
Yeah,
were platoon leader?
right.
About 33 then? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now that,
Now, when you were hit, you were, what do you mean by you were hit? You mean you were injured by gunfire?
I was wounded in the legs.
Okay. In
I was
both legs then?
carrying this stretcher out, and the sniper got me. He was only from 35 feet away, we laying under a bush.
Mm-hmm.
He got me, but they got him quick.
By a sniper then.
Yeah.
So you're wounded with gunfire then. Did it hit any of the bones or anything like that? Did the gunfire hit any of your bones in your legs or?
No, it went through both of my legs, yeah.
Okay, just went right through the fleshy part of the leg.
Yeah, went in one, out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did they evacuate you then? On a stretcher or?
Yeah, well, they put me on a stretcher, and there was a Jeep up at the top and had outriggers, we call them, where they put you on, and there's 4 of us.
Stack you on there, yeah.
And they took us back to the evacuation center. And from there, I went aboard an airplane and flew to Guam, back to Guam.
Okay, so you flew from
Iwo Jima to Guam.
back to Guam. Okay.
DC-3.
Oh, was it C-47? It was a C-47 then, huh?
Oh, DC-3.
Oh, DC-3, sure.
Designated.
Yeah. So back to the hospital then, right? Back to the hospital.
Yeah.
Was it again a tent hospital on?
There was there we had Quonset hut.
Okay. Okay.
Guam was getting pretty civilized.
And that was operated again by the Navy Medical Corps?
Yeah.
Okay. How many other, wounded Marines and other Americans were there then at the hospital in Guam?
Oh, I would have no idea, because there were several buildings, and there must have been 30 or 40 in each building.
I see.
Yeah.
How long did you stay there then in Guam in the hospital?
Just a couple of weeks.
Okay.
Then they put us aboard it was a Liberty ship, they were called, and they took us to Pearl Harbor.
Oh, I see.
And they were going to unload us at Pearl Harbor, and all the hospitals in Pearl Harbor were full. So they shipped us all the way back to the United States on that Liberty ship.
You just kept going then?
Yeah, kept right on going.
Did you come back to San Francisco or where?
Pardon?
Did you come back to San Francisco through the Golden Gate?
Did the Golden Gate, yeah.
Okay. And where did you, what hospital did you go to in the United States?
I don't remember the name of the hospital. Okay. It was a base hospital.
Was it on
one of the bases, and I don't even remember the base.
Was it over in the East Bay in Oakland, California?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I just.
Okay. But it was in California, though, at least initially. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all we cared about. We were home.
How long were you there then in the first hospital in California?
Well, I was there about 2 months, and then they shipped me back to Chicago.
Okay.
And from Chicago, I got my first Liberty I'd had in 3.5 years. So.
Where did you go on your first Liberty? Do you recall?
First Liberty was we left our hospital, jumped on a bus, and headed for Grand Rapids.
Oh.
That was my first Liberty, was Grand Rapids.
So then did you have to take the bus back to Chicago eventually? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Were you in a hospital then in Chicago? Was that at the Great Lakes?
It was a permanent hospital. It wasn't one that was.
Yeah. Was it like at the Great Lakes Naval facility there in the north part of Chicago?
Great Lakes Naval Station.
Naval Station, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
There was a hospital there.
Okay. Well, how long were you under treatment there then at the hospital before finally being discharged from the hospital in Chicago?
Yeah. Well.
How long were you there?
Oh, I was there. Well, I should. Actually, I was there 3 months, but I was only on the base a month because I had a 30 days delayed orders, and then I had a 30-day accumulated leave. And so then they had 30 days on the base. But I was all hospital. I was in the hospital all that time.
I see.
Even when I was on Liberty, I was I was assigned to the hospital.
So when you were on Liberty, you obviously you had healed enough anyway to be able to find the bus station and get to Grand Rapids, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Did you have to go through rehabilitation or anything like that there then?
Wait, the first time I came up, first time I came to Grand Rapids, I came by train. I came by train because there was a lot of guys from Grand Rapids on the train that had served in Philippines with my brother's outfit. And
your brother, you said, was in the Army, is that right?
he was in the Army, yeah.
Serving
Both of
in
them
the
were.
Philippines. Was that Richard? Was that his name?
Richard, yeah, he was in the infantry.
Okay.
He was a platoon sergeant.
And what island was he on then in the Philippines?
Pardon?
What island was Richard on in the
He
Philippines?
was in New Guinea,
New Guinea?
and he went across the Owen Stanleys, and he was also on the Philippines, in the Philippines.
Was he with the...
The Owen Stanley, when he was in the in the Owen Stanley, crossing the Owen Stanley mountains, he led his platoon in assault, and they got caught off beyond their limits. But he got them all back without any casualties at all, and he got the Bronze Star for that, which is the third highest medal you can get.
Okay. What unit was he in? Was he in a Michigan unit then
Yeah.
in the Army? You remember what the name
The
of it?
126,
126th Infantry, right?
126th Infantry. Yeah.
Okay. Had that been a National Guard?
That was in 31st or 34th Division. I can't remember which. It was in the 30-some division.
But it was made up mainly of Michigan troops, is that right?
Yeah.
Had they been a reserve or a guard unit here in
No,
Michigan?
the National Guard. It was a National Guard outfit, and it was in Milwaukee and Grand Rapids. In well, anyhow, most of the 126 was right out of Grand Rapids. There was some from Milwaukee in that too. And
I think at that time they were headquartered at the Grand Valley Armory here in Wyoming.
Pardon?
Yeah, I think they were headquartered at the Grand Valley Armory
yeah.
in Wyoming, Michigan.
Oh yeah.
Southwest part
it was
of
Grand Rapids Armory downtown at that time.
Oh, was it?
It was
Okay.
Michigan.
Ah. Oh, I remember that
The
one.
Armory was right on the side of the hill there on Michigan as you're going up the big hill.
I see, sure.
Yeah.
I'm going to change the tape here. So this is the end of tape number 1 of the interview with Gerard Platte. And we will have tape number 2 coming up shortly. This is tape number 2 of the interview, Veterans History interview of Gerard Platte on January 13, 2015. And Jerry and I had just been talking about the landing on Iwo Jima. And Jerry, you mentioned that Dick Schmidt was also with your unit.
Yes.
And you said he won the Silver Star?
Yes, he won the Silver Star. He knocked out 4 pillboxes all by himself.
I see.
And that was, he threw hand grenades. He charged them and then threw hand grenades in and knocked out. The last one got him.
And you mentioned he's still living and still
living in Grand Rapids.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been trying to get a hold of him, but he lost his wife, and apparently he's living with some of the family. He's not at his home because his phone rings, but he doesn't answer.
Now, was he also with B Company,
He-
1st
oh, yeah.
Battalion, 21st
Oh,
Marines?
yeah. He was a rifleman.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So we were talking, you were here in, or actually in Chicago in the hospital, and had come home to Grand Rapids on Liberty. How long did you spend overall then in Chicago recuperating from your injuries?
30 days.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Well, actually, if you want to, actually being in Chicago was 30 days, but it would be 90 days I was assigned there, but 60 of them I was on Liberty.
Okay.
Yeah, so
And then where did you go after that?
so there I went to Pennsylvania, Philadelphia Navy Yard.
Okay. And what did you do there?
There I just, reassignment, I was sent there for reassignment.
Okay. So you're really kind of in a casual company there at
Yeah,
that point?
casual
Until
company,
reassigned.
yeah.
And then where were you reassigned from there?
Then from there I went to Crane, Indiana.
Okay.
There was a Naval Ammunition Depot. And I spent the rest of my time there at Crane.
And that was near Indianapolis, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. How long were you there then before discharge?
I was there about 3 months.
3 months. Okay, so at Crane then, that's where you were actually discharged from the Marine Corps then?
Right, I was doing guard duty there.
I see.
And actually I was discharged out of Chicago. That was the discharge center
So you returned to Chicago for
Yeah.
discharge, is that
for
right?
discharge.
Jerry, you were discharged at Chicago. Do you remember what date that was?
Do I rem-
What date were you discharged?
I was discharged January 20th, 1946.
46. Yeah,
4 years to the day.
4 years the day after you were sworn in.
January 20th, 1942. Went in.
Let me back up a little bit. But as far as you related some experiences you had on some of the Pacific Islands,
Yeah.
were there any other memorable experiences you had in the Marine Corps?
Well, when we were going up to Guam, this is kind of a funny one, but we were going up to Guam and they give us time off, and we went to Inuitok and they put us ashore to do exercise. And when we were there, it was looked like a great big building. Actually, it was about 2-story high, storing of beer storage place. So they gave us all the beer we could drink out of one bottle. That's what they told you. You have all the beer you want out of one bottle.
Just one bottle is all they would give.
We were going to stay there overnight, and I don't know whether they got wind of it or something, but we were going to raid the supply depot, and before we got a chance, we were put back aboard ship.
Yeah, the Marine Corps always rations out the beer, it seems.
Pardon?
The Marine Corps always rations out the beer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Just a few, some house cleaning details, so to speak. Were you ever a prisoner of war? Were you ever a prisoner of war?
No, no,
Corps, okay.
no.
Okay, and obviously you received the Purple Heart then for your injuries.
Purple Heart, yes.
Okay.
I showed you that unit citation I got on Guam.
Mm-hmm.
That was
Did you receive any other specific awards for
well, just
bravery?
the units, presidential unit citations that the whole outfit got.
Okay.
They were. Yeah.
Let me ask you, Jerry, how did you keep in touch with your family then when you were overseas?
We used to, what they call email. It was just one sheet. You'd write your letter and send it out.
Mm-hmm.
And then every once in a while we get our mail in. We usually get about 3 or 4 weeks mail at one time.
Was the V-mail, was it a
The mail would
photograph
catch-
then? Do you remember, the V-mail, was that a photograph of your letter
Yeah,
that you had handwritten out?
yeah.
But your letters coming in from your family, was that
Yeah.
also by V-mail or
No, the regular mail,
regular mail? Okay.
yeah. By the time we got most of our packages, the food was stale or so badly mashed up you couldn't eat it, but we ate it anyhow.
And you mentioned normally you'd get several letters at
Well,
once.
the
then,
cake,
is
the
that
cake
right?
would be all crumbled up, but we just reach in and grab a handful and eat it.
At least it was cake, right?
Yeah.
But did you get a number of letters at one time then? Or did you get mail every day or just?
Oh, no.
It was kind of
Sometimes
grouped
we go
together
2 or 3 weeks without mail.
Oh, yeah,
In fact, one time we went a couple, 3 months, I think, without mail.
I see.
When it came through in big stacks.
What was the food like then on the Pacific Islands? What kind of food did you have?
Terrible. Even when we weren't in combat, our food was not good. I mean, powdered milk, powdered potatoes, and all that powdered food.
Did
To
you-
keep you alive, but wasn't tasty. And it had spam. We never had pork or anything like that.
Did you have K rations or something that you took
K
to the field
rations,
with you
yeah.
then?
K rations and C rations when we were in combat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have K rations and C rations at the same time?
Pardon?
Did they also have C rations?
Oh, yeah.
What was the difference between the C
Well,
rations?
C rations were in cans. They were like, maybe spaghetti and hash and stuff like that. And you had a can, it was about that big around, about that high. It was a meal.
And what were the K rations like? What
D
were-
rations were a little better. You'd get eggs, not eggs as you know them, but eggs in a can.
Oh.
They were already cooked, baked, or everything.
But did they come in a can also then, or what?
Yeah, and they came in a box,
Oh, a
a
box.
wax box. And on Iwo, we'd take those C rations, we'd dig a hole down about maybe a foot and put a hole in the can so it didn't explode and put it down in that
Black
coral,
soil.
and it would heat it up. You'd have
Because
hot food.
It's a volcanic island, right?
Yeah, volcanic ash, yeah.
The thought just struck me, is does C ration mean canned ration?
I don't know, I never did know that.
Because we had C rations in Vietnam, but we had no K rations.
Yeah.
And then they also had what they called B rations. Now those were that's what the company cook or the battalion cook would get.
Yeah.
Number 10 cans, large cans that they
Yeah.
would actually cook meals from. But in the field, we just had the C rations. Did you have plenty of supplies, or as far as your supplies, getting ammunition and
we had
food and that sort of thing?
Yeah. We had the supplies, all the ammunition we needed. We never were short on ammunition.
Okay.
We got down on it, but we were never out of it. It seemed like every time we got down, we'd bring it back up.
The Navy was always there with a ship full of ammo, right?
Pardon?
The Navy was always there with a
Yeah.
ship full of ammo.
Well, the supplies were always on shore. The Navy did a good job of supplying us. So we had no problem with the supplies.
Yeah.
It was just getting them up to the front line. I showed that one picture where we were handling it up by chain gang.
Yeah. Did you feel pressure and stress then when you were in combat situations?
Right?
Did you feel pressure and stress when you were ashore on the Pacific Islands?
Oh yeah, it wouldn't be normal if you didn't feel stress and.
How did you handle the stress? Was there a way to handle the stress or a way to relieve the stress?
No, live with it. You just lived with it.
Yeah, you had to remain alert then to snipers and
Lived it and
banzai attacks and that sort of thing.
you had to live with it and hoped you could get a new spot and where you could get liberty. Because when we were in Guadalcanal and Guam, we never got liberty. And there was no place to go.
Sure. Was there anything special you did for good luck at all?
Pardon?
Was there anything special you did for good luck?
Special?
Anything special you did for good luck?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you, Jerry.
Oh, we all the Catholics carried rosaries.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah, but that wasn't for good luck. It was just to pray with.
So, being a man of the faith, then.
Yeah.
How did your faith bring you through then? How did your faith bring you through the combat situation there?
How did faith?
Yeah. How do you feel your faith brought you through? You prayed the rosary then and
Yeah.
enter into regular
Well,
prayer?
yeah, and whenever we
something?
could get to service, we went to service.
Mm-hmm.
When we were in Guam, one of the guys in our company, his name was Cook, but he was a Bible student, and he would hold services.
Oh.
It was just, he wasn't a minister or anything, but the guys would go to him because he was a pretty good guy. I mean, he did a good job of it.
He wasn't really a Navy chaplain then. He was just. He wasn't a Navy chaplain. He was
just one of our men.
He was a Bible student then.
Just yeah, he was just a private like us.
Sure.
But he just was into that Bible. It started out in his tent, and then the other guys started drifting in. Mm-hmm. Then it moved to the mess hall, and it was like a chapel.
A little larger facility then.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you entertain yourselves, or did you have time to entertain yourselves on the islands?
Well, we had when let's see, it was on Guadalcanal. We had Bob Hope.
Oh, did you? Oh.
He was there.
Did you attend his show then? Did you attend the Bob Hope show then?
Yeah.
In Guadalcanal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was there, and that was when I think I told you before that Bob Hope saw all the officers up in front, and he says, no more of that. You take your spot just like the rest of them. No preference here. He says, I just won't come.
And what do the officers do then? Do they mix themselves in with the troops? Did the officers mix themselves in with the troops then?
Oh, the troops really loved him.
I'll bet.
Of course, I don't know if the officers loved him, but the troops did.
Yeah, you don't want the regimental or battalion staff up front. You know, they gotta take a line, get in line with everybody else. Right?
And we used to have it was in Guadalcanal. We had a theater. We sat on logs for seats, and you have movies.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I assume you only did that at Guadalcanal. You didn't have time or ability to do that on Guam or Bougainville or Iwo Jima then? Did you have movies on Guam?
No, we never had a movie on Bougainville.
Okay.
We had them in Guam or in Guadalcanal, and after it was secured, we got it the same way with Guam. We never had one on Iwo.
I just want to ask you, I think I may know the answer to this, but did you travel at all while you were in the service? I mean, travel outside of your official duties?
No.
They didn't give you leave to go to, other than being in New Zealand with your unit, you didn't go on R&R to Sydney, Australia or anything like that then, is that right? Okay. Okay.
It was,
were there any, I want to ask about humorous events and that sort of thing. Did you pull any pranks on your fellow Marines or anything like that?
Did I what?
Any pranks or funny stunts you pulled on your fellow Marines at all?
No.
Okay. You had any photographs? Did you take any photographs while you were overseas?
You weren't allowed to have a camera.
Okay. No camera then.
In fact, you see, you'd run into some guys afterwards, and they'd say, well, these are the pictures I took on the front lines. And I'd say, how could you take them without a camera? Oh, we had cameras. I said, you didn't have cameras.
You weren't supposed to, huh?
We didn't have cameras. If you had a camera, they smashed it.
Yeah.
And I said, you wouldn't be able to do it. Yes.
Yeah.
But then they always Well, we had one, but you didn't have one. In fact, I had a set of pictures that you could buy them. And this guy was telling how he took them. And I said, I took the same identical pictures. He shut up, he never said anything more about that.
Yeah. Jerry, what did you think of your fellow Marines, your fellow enlisted men, and also your officers?
Of all the times I was in the service for 4 years in different groups, I never found only one person I didn't like. And
So why didn't you like him?
he was always doing things the wrong way and staying over leave, and he just wasn't cooperating.
I see.
In fact, he finally ended up with a dishonorable discharge.
I see. So you liked your fellow Marines generally then?
Yeah.
And what did you think of the officers that were in the company?
I had all my officers were good, except one that he just was too official, officious. I mean, I'm a lieutenant and you better never forget it, you know, that type of person.
Sure. Did you keep a personal diary at all when you were overseas?
Pardon?
Did you keep a personal diary when overseas?
Personal?
Diary?
Batteries?
You know, diary, a written diary?
No, you weren't allowed to keep a
Oh,
diary.
you weren't, okay.
No, your diaries were out. You couldn't take a letter into combat with you.
Well, they were afraid that if you were captured, the Japanese would get
Right.
it and use it for intelligence purposes,
Right.
is that right? I see.
Yeah, you weren't allowed to take anything in that would identify you other than the dog tags.
Sure. Well, let me jump a little ahead here, Jerry, to when you were leaving the service. For instance, do you remember the day that you were discharged from the Marine Corps in Chicago?
Yes.
What did you do during that day?
January 20th is when I was discharged date.
Yeah. What did you do that day?
You mean after I come back to Grand Rapids?
Well, did you travel back to Grand Rapids on that day, or?
Yeah, I went back to Grand Rapids and I went right to work.
Oh, I see.
I didn't take any time off.
You went back to Hayes Manufacturing then,
Yeah,
is that right?
and
Okay.
I was there a couple months, and then I decided to get into surveying, and I went to work for the city of Grand Rapids.
So you really didn't take any time off then between the Marine Corps and the time
No.
you started work again?
No.
Okay. Did you go back to school or college at all, or?
Well, when I went to work for the city, we took night school at junior college under the GI Bill.
So that was on the new GI Bill then that had been passed at that time.
Yeah.
How long after you got back before you actually got the job with the city of Grand Rapids?
Pardon?
How long after you got back from the Marine Corps before you started working for the city?
Well, I was working at Hayes, and I interviewed for the city, and I told them I'd have to give them 2 weeks' notice, and Millard Moore was the city engineer, and he said, I'd expect you to do that. So I went back to work, and my supervisor was Ed Sowers, and I told him about it. You know, don't you remember you gave me your 2 weeks' notice 2 weeks ago? And I said, no, I don't remember that. He said, well, you did. He said, call up the city engineer and tell him that.
Now, just to be clear here, Jerry.
So yeah, he called up.
He pulled that stunt so that you would be available to work for the city.
Yeah, he didn't.
Is that right?
He didn't want me
wasn't
to stay
firing you, right?
Ed Sauer didn't want me to stay in a factory for the rest of my life. He wanted me to get into something different.
He recognized that
So
you should move on.
He talked to Millard Moore, and he told Millard Moore he didn't want me to stay in a factory like his dad and he did all his life. He wanted to get into something different. And so he sent me up to Millard Moore, and I got the job.
And that was in the engineering department then,
Yeah,
the city of Grand
engineer.
Rapids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I started out as a city surveyor, rod man, the lowest you could be, and I ended up as a city surveyor.
Okay, and so you were the city surveyor when you retired then, is that
Yeah.
right? Yeah. How many years service did you have with the city when you retired?
35 years.
35 years. And when did you retire? What year?
I was 59 years old, so that would be, I gotta stop and think. My mathematics is slow coming.
So again, Jerry, what year did you retire from the city of Grand Rapids?
I think it was 1982.
Okay. And you retired as the city surveyor then?
As a
was your
city
position?
surveyor, yes.
Okay. Did you make any close friendships while you were in the service? Close friendships with your fellow Marines?
Well, I had my buddy Dick Schmidt was close, but then there was about 5 or 6 of us hung together pretty much. Mm-hmm. And
But they were spread out throughout the United States then? They lived in different states and that sort of thing?
yeah, all from different states. A lot of them from New York and
I see.
Boston.
Did you keep in touch with them by letter or Christmas card?
Never did keep in touch with them.
Any reunions?
Well, I shouldn't say that. I did keep in touch with them. I joined the 3rd Marine Division retired people,
Association.
and went to their conventions. And then
Oh,
I
I
met
see.
some of the guys that I'd served with. And then we started writing back and forth.
I see, sure. How many conventions did you go to? I mean, several, or
How many what?
how many conventions of the 3rd Marine Division did you go to?
Oh, I went to about 10 of them.
I see. Did you join any other veterans organizations like the American Legion or the,
I belong to the American Legion, yeah.
Okay.
That's the,
was that here in Grand Rapids?
right here in Grand Rapids, yeah.
Okay. What post number was it?
That's the Marine Navy post. What the heck's it called? Furniture City. Furniture City
Furniture
Post.
City Post, okay.
Yeah.
Any other organizations you joined, like the Veterans of Foreign Wars,
No, DAV.
Disabled American Veterans?
Yeah, I'm a life member of DAV.
Okay. It again. Jerry, let me ask you, did your military experiences influence your thinking about war or about the military in general? How did your time in the military affect your thinking about it?
All I can speak for is the Marine Corps. I can't speak for the other services, but as far as I'm concerned, the Marine Corps was tops. No question about it. And then we always call the CVs, Little Marines, the Little Marine Corps, because they were pretty much like a big brother to us. They treated Marines well.
They're the ones that made life a little more livable, right, with the construction?
Yeah, and we had a sign up on Bougainville. When the Marines enter Tokyo, their hats at a jaunty tilt. We'll arrive in Tokyo on the roads of Seabees built.
Okay.
So we had that poem up on the
Yeah,
big poster on the side of the highway.
sure. How did your time in the service and your experiences in the wartime, how did that affect your life later on?
I don't really think it affected my life.
Think of it
at
that
all.
way? Yeah, okay.
I think all my standards are set by my dad.
Now let me ask you, I think we discussed this earlier, but your son also served in the Marine Corps later, didn't he?
Pardon?
Did Denny, your son Denny?
My son Denny served in
He
the Marine
served in the
Corps.
Marine Corps in the
Yeah.
1960s, right?
Yeah,
Where was
during
he
Vietnam.
stationed?
He served in 29 Palms in the Marine Corps band
I
for
see.
2 years.
Was he drafted in the Marine Corps?
Pardon?
Was he drafted into the Marine
No,
Corps?
he volunteered in.
Oh, I see. Okay. But he was on the bass band there at
Yeah,
29 Palms.
yeah.
What instrument did he play?
Pardon?
What instrument?
He was trumpet.
Trumpet. Okay.
Yeah, he sat in the first chair.
Okay, so Denny didn't make it overseas into
No,
Vietnam or anything like that then?
yeah. Yeah, he said the closest they came to anything scary was they were flying up to Washington State, and one of the engines went out of their airplane. And
Oh.
they were pretty scared on that.
Now, Jerry, after you got back, I understand you got married. When were you married? How many years after you got back from overseas before you got married?
Get back from overseas?
When were you married after you got back?
Oh, it was about probably 3 or 4 years.
I see. And what was your
I
wife's
didn't
name?
rush into it.
What was your wife's name?
Or Gladys.
Your first wife's name?
Well, the first wife's name was Eileen.
Eileen. Okay. And how many years
Then
were you
had
married?
Eileen, then Marilyn.
Okay. How many years were you married to Eileen?
18 years.
18 years. Okay. And she's the mother of all your children, is that right?
Yeah, she had my 3 children. Yeah.
Okay.
And I married Marilyn,
Marlene, how do you spell her name?
Marlene.
I see, Marlene. Yeah. How many years were you married to Marlene?
We were married 6 years. She died of cancer.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. But she had 4 children, and they still call me Dad. And
I see. And then your third wife was Gladys.
Gladys, yeah.
And I understand you were married 40 years.
Pardon?
You were married 40 years
40 years to Gladys, yes.
to Gladys, and she just died this fall, is that
Yeah,
right? This last fall?
3 months, 2 or 3 months ago.
September of 2014.
Yeah.
Okay. And your children, who is your oldest child?
Denny,
Okay.
yeah, he's retired.
Retired. What did he do in his life?
Pardon?
What did he retire from?
Oh, he was supervisor in a factory in Florida. I can't even think what they made. Window factory in Florida. He was superintendent in the window factory in
window
Florida.
factory. Okay. Yeah.
He graduated from Michigan State.
I see.
Or no, Western.
WMU at Western.
Yeah, Western.
And then your next youngest child behind Denny?
Next one is Roseanne.
Okay.
Yeah, she had 3 children.
3 children. How old is Roseanne?
Roseanne?
Yeah.
62.
62. And Denny is 66, is that right?
Yeah, 60. Denny's,
Okay.
yeah.
And then your
Becky.
third child, Becky?
Becky is 61.
Okay. How many children does Becky have?
Becky has 2.
Okay. And Denny lives in Florida then, is that right? What city does he live in?
Pardon?
What city does Denny live in Florida?
Where does he live?
What city?
Let's see.
that's all right.
I don't
And
slips my mind.
Roseanne lives,
Roseanne lives right here in Grand Rapids.
Grand Rapids, okay. And her last name is Nelson then, is that
Nelson, yeah.
right? Okay.
And Becky lives in South Carolina, Columbia.
I see.
Port Charlotte. Denny lives in Port Charlotte.
Port Charlotte, okay.
It'll come to you sooner or later.
Just to put it on the record here, then Becky lives in Columbia, South
Yes.
Carolina. And what is her last name again?
Ayer, A-Y-E-R.
I see. Now, Jerry, how long have you lived here at the American Home for Senior Living?
Pardon?
How long have you lived here?
2 years.
2 years.
Oh, that's 2.5 years, I guess.
2.5 years. Okay.
Yes.
Is there anything else you can think of then, Jerry, that you'd like to put on the
No,
recording here?
I'm just trying to think of anything. Yeah,
Okay.
but I don't know, did I mention on Guam after the Banzai charge, we had 18 men left. Dick Schmidt from Grand Rapids and I were left in the 18.
Oh, I see.
and we're still alive today, both of us.
Two of you survived.
Yeah.
Well, Jerry, I want to thank you for sharing your recollections in the U.S. Marine Corps and in the Pacific in World War II. I appreciate your participation in the Veterans History Project here. This interview will be part of the Veterans History Project. It will be at the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C. And also, a copy will be with the History Department at Grand Valley State University, Allendale, Michigan. Again, I thank you for taking your time to talk with me about your time in the service. It certainly has been interesting. And my name as the videographer and interviewer is Wallace Erickson. And as mentioned earlier, I'm a volunteer interviewer with the History Department at Grand Valley State University. Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you.
We're recording the photographs of Gerard Platte. And, this first photograph, Jerry, who is in the photograph here?
Well, that's me up on Indian Island, Washington, and that was taken up on the roof of our barracks.
I see, and that was taken in 1942, is that right?
Yeah, 42.
And you're in your Marine Corps dress blues.
Marine Corps dress blues, yeah. I don't fit them anymore.
And this looks like almost the same exposure as before.
It is, yeah.
Is that you, Jerry, in the photograph here?
That's me in the photograph of my two brothers, Herb and Dick.
Well, this particular photograph, though, you're alone in the middle,
Yeah.
wearing your Marine dress blues.
Right.
Okay. Which brother is this then, Jerry, in this photograph?
That one is Herb.
Okay, and he's in the U.S. Army.
He was in the
right?
Army. He was in the anti-aircraft.
Okay.
And he served in the Philippines.
Okay. And again, he was U.S. Army?
U.S. Army.
U.S. Army.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Which brother is this then?
This is Richard Platte. That's my oldest brother. And he served in the Army in the Philippines, in New Guinea first, and then the Philippines. But he won the Bronze Star for rescuing his whole, or getting his whole platoon out of a tight situation. They had to cross under a bridge, hand over hand. He got them all out, and he was the last man over, so they gave him the Bronze Star for his bravery.
For bravery. Now, what island was this taken on then, Jerry? This photograph?
This one here was taken on Guam, and that's Dick Schmidt and myself, both from Grand Rapids. And he was the one that was with me, and also one of the 18 that were left on our company after our big battle.
So he also was with B Company,
Oh, yeah,
1st
he's B
Battalion,
Company, yeah.
21st Marines.
Right,
And this is you on the left, and
Yeah.
then Dick Schmidt on the right.
right.
Okay. Hey, Jerry, who are in this photograph after the war then?
Yeah, this was after the war. We were back in Grand Rapids, and we took a picture of that, Dick Schmidt and myself.
Dick is on the left and
Yes,
you're on the right
yeah.
then. Taken in 1945.
Yeah. Actually, this was still during the service. We were still in the service.
I see.
But then Dick got out first before I did, and then I come out later. I had to finish up my 4 years.
Where was this photograph taken then, Jerry?
This photograph was taken in Bougainville. We were carrying food from the beach to the front, and ammunition in between. Some was ammunition, some was food.
So this would have been 1944 then, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, 43.
43.
43.
Okay. Going along a trail in the jungle there, it looks
Yeah.
like.
It was on the Numa Trail.
I'm sorry, what was the name of the trail?
Numa Trail.
Numa Trail?
Yeah.
I see. Jerry, who is in this photograph then?
Well, that's me carrying water up from the watering station down below up into the top of the ridge. And that was the only way we could get water up there because there was no wells or anything on top of that mountain. That was a funny one on that one. Was this was a picture, it was in the paper, and at a later date, the paper was sent to Dick Schmidt, and Dick Schmidt put the picture up on the bulletin board. It called me the local water boy. And so we got a lot of laughs out of that one. And then,
Is this an official Marine Corps photograph in?
yeah, this was an official Marine Corps photograph, yeah.
Okay.
And they sent it to the Grand Rapids Press. The Grand Rapids Press published it in this this one over here. You'll be showing that next.
On the back of this photograph, it's written official Marine Corps photograph taken by Sergeant Mundell,
Yeah.
Mundell.
Yeah.
And it's also typed on there, PFC Gerard J. Platte, Grand Rapids, Michigan, carrying canteens on a stick up the side of the ridge.
The water, that's water. Those were canteens.
This is the only way the men get water on the front lines. Photo taken on Guam. It looks like photograph number 94-450 in District CPD, Division of Public Relations, Washington, D.C. It's obviously headquarters of Marine Corps. And also handwritten on the back of this is mail to Mrs. Richard Platte, 153 Valley Avenue Northwest.
Right.
That'd be Grand Rapids,
That's
Michigan.
right.
And this is the reverse of photograph number 8 of Gerard Platte carrying the canteens up the ridge on Guam. Now, Jerry, this is a cutout from the newspaper. Was this the Grand Rapids Press?
This is the Grand Rapids Press, and this is the one that appeared on the bulletin board that got all the laughs, local water boy. Yeah. That was a 60% grade up the side of that mountain. It was
Rather steep.
60 foot high and 100 foot horizontal.
How many canteens were you carrying about?
I don't know.
Half
It must have
dozen or
been
so,
about
a dozen?
six or eight, six, seven or eight. I don't know.
Yeah, the caption on the photograph is "Local water boy in hot spot,
Yeah.
carrying canteens of water up a ridge on the island of Guam was the task of PSC Gerard J. Platte, son of Mr. and Mrs. Richard Platte, 153 Valley Avenue Northwest, when this picture was taken. PFC Platte enlisted in the Marines in January 1942 and has been in the South Pacific many months. He took part in the fighting on Bougainville and other operations in that theater. He is a graduate of Catholic Central High School and was employed by Hayes Manufacturing Corporation. Okay.
No, I don't think so. What is that on the back there say?
Yeah. Where was this photograph taken then, Jerry?
That picture was taken in Jacksonville, Florida. We were at the football playoff, and we were veterans from Iwo Jima. And the one fella in the uniform, that's the same uniform he wore in Marine Corps. He still fits it.
And you are the second from the left, is
Yeah,
that
I'm
right?
in the khaki. Yeah,
Yeah.
the left, second from the left.
And you don't recall the names of the other Marines in the photograph?
No.
But was this the 3rd Marine Division Association meeting?
Yeah, 3rd Division. I was past president of the Florida Chapter 3rd Division.
Oh, I see. Okay. Where was this photograph taken then, Jerry?
Let's see, that was what, 06 or 05? 05, I think.
Looks like February of 05,
Yeah,
at a 3rd
05,
Marine
yeah.
Division.
3rd Marine Division, yeah,
Association meeting?
Florida chapter. And we were at that Jacksonville football game, and President Clinton walked in, and I haven't mentioned much, where's Jerry Ford? He stopped and talked and posed for this picture, and brought in the movie actor.
Michael Douglas?
Michael Douglas, but Clinton was a very outgoing person. He talked to everybody, and I asked him if he had met the Congressional Medal of Honor winner. He said, well, no, I haven't, but I sure want to. And I said, well, I'll take you over, and I took him over and introduced him to the Congressional Medal of Honor winner, and he posed there for half an hour for other people to get pictures of him with the Congressional Medal of Honor.
Sure.
He was an outgoing man, I'll tell you.
Who was the individual that received the Medal of Honor? Remember his name?
Smith was his name. I can't remember his first name.
Okay.
But
That was from Iwo Jima then?
I don't remember. He wasn't in our division.
Oh, I see.
He was from another division.
Okay.
Photograph.
Jerry, was this photo taken at a 3rd Marine Division Association meeting?
Florida chapter.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. And
It looks like from the back of the photograph that it was taken in July of 1985.
yeah.
And this was the 3rd Marine Division Association meeting in Florida.
Yeah.
Okay. Who was the individual on the left then?
Yeah, and on the left is me.
Gotcha. Okay.
And,
Jerry.
In
In the middle
the
then?
middle is Lieutenant Colonel Marlowe Williams. He was our battalion commander. And I was telling him one time, I said, boy, if I'd have told the guys in our company that I was going to hug your wife, they'd have thought I was crazy. But he was a nice guy, a real nice guy. In the service, we used to call him Bullet Head because he didn't have a hair on his head.
He still doesn't.
Oh, not to his face. Not to his face.
And on the right here?
That's Adolf Novella. He's the one that I got wounded when I was carrying him out. He had thrown himself on a hand grenade with his helmet, blew his stomach quite badly. But I was carrying him out when the sniper got me in the legs. So, and he was commander of one platoon. He was a PFC, and I was commander of another platoon, and I was a PFC. When we pushed to the end of the island, we were leading the push, and we were the first ones to the end of the island on Iwo Jima.
Oh, I see.
So,
This is the end of the photographs that we're recording on videotape here, Jerry. And again, I want to thank you for your participation in the Veterans History Project and in doing this interview with us.
it was my pleasure.
We certainly appreciate your service for our country, and it was very enjoyable talking with you and interviewing.
Well, I enjoyed talking to you too, fellow Marine.
Thank you. This is the end of our interview with Gerard J. Platte. It was with B Company, 1st Battalion, 21st Marines, 3rd Marine Division in the South Pacific.
Right.
And my name as interviewer is Wallace Erickson. That's the end of our recording. Thank you.